Dear viewers, our topic today is levels of communication. Communication is a process through which human beings can engage themselves with human entities as well as non human entities. Experts have categorized communication according to the following five levels. Number one, extrapersonal communication. Number two, interpersonal communication. Number three, intrapersonal communication. Number four, organizational communication. And number five, mass communication. Let us discuss these levels one by one. Extrapersonal communication. When communication is conducted with non human entities, it is called extrapersonal communication. In this communication, one participant uses sign language and the other uses verbal language. The loving relation between a pet dog and its master is perhaps the best example of this form of communication. In this connection, we can give the example of the loving bond between historical seven sleepers and their dog Ar-Rakim or Kitmir. According to some accounts, the sleepers slept for 373 years in a den and their loving dog accompanied them all the time. From the field of literature, one can give the example of James Thurber's Snapshot of a Dog. It is a beautiful short story which revolves around the loving relation of a master and his dog. The story provides an illuminating account of extrapersonal communication. In recent times, many movies have been made to this effect. The chirping of birds in the morning is also suggestive of this sort of communication, as it makes us share their feeling of joy. It also strengthens our symbiosis with nature. The poetry of romantic poets like Blake and Wordsworth is full of the situations of this kind. Now we move on to interpersonal communication. Interpersonal communication involves two parties, a sender and a receiver, who use common language to transmit message either through oral communication or written communication. This is the most common type of communication. It is the main pillar of every society in every period of history. It is an interactive process and takes place in formal manner as well as informal manner. Intrapersonal communication. Intrapersonal communication is all about talking to ourselves. The prefix intra means within. Hence, intrapersonal communication is self talk. Phrases like telling ourselves the truth or admitting the truth reflect self awareness. It is the internal involvement of the individual with his cognitive ability, as it were. This internal involvement remains active even when we are asleep. Various issues of our daily life can be related to intrapersonal communication. For example, introspecting about some important task on which we have been working, thinking about our friends and relatives, making plans about some future project, etc. Similarly, when artists are engaged in creative activity, they are fully exploiting the possibilities of intrapersonal communication. Organizational communication. In a business organization, communication is vitally important. It can simultaneously flow up and down. It can be horizontal and diagonal. Besides internal communication, companies depend on external communication as well. Companies exchange messages with people outside the organization through external communication. Mass communication. Mass communication is a process in which a person, group of people, or an organization sends a message through a channel of communication to a large number of people. A large group may include the general public or a segment of the general public. Channels of communication include television, radio, social media, and print media. The sender of the message is usually a professional communicator who represents an organization. Mass communication is an expensive process. Unlike interpersonal communication, feedback for mass communication is usually slow and indirect. Mass communication is successful because of the following factors. Firstly, it has the capacity to reach scattered audience. Secondly, it is mainly impersonal as the participants are unknown to each other. Thirdly, it needs mediators to convey the message from a sender to a receiver. This mediator or gatekeeper facilitates the transfer of information from the source to the target audience. For example, the editor of a newspaper is the mediator between the source of the news and the target audience. With that, we come to the end of today's topic. Thank you very much.